Having mentioned McConnell there, I thought he was great, and I really like him. And I mentioned him, remember, after Accrington game, when he sort of come on. For me, he's a bit. I think he's ahead of Morton in terms of for his age. Obviously, Morton's a little bit older and more experienced, but I remember saying to that, I think McConnell's got the highest ceiling, and so I wasn't too surprised to see him start ahead of Morton because it feels like the manager on this is sort of, aligned with me, really thinking like, actually this guy, he's obviously, manager would have seen more of him. He's obviously really impressed in training, but I think he's looking at McConnell and going, actually, Morton's looks like he's obviously going to be a really good footballer and going to have a really good career, but McConnell, I think, is a potential Liverpool midfielder. And so I wasn't too surprised to see him come in. I didn't think he'd play as well as he did. Do you know what I mean? Because it's hard. It's like for all the reasons we said before, for all the caveats with Jayden Danns, McConnell's got those as well. But I thought he was brilliant, and it was interesting. The manager talking after the game saying we were thinking about loaning him out, but there's no chance now because he's impressed him that much, and it was great to see him sort of grab that opportunity and show all the maturity that he did on the pitch.
Yeah, I think that it's probably a thing of. We don't see the development, do we? That they do because all of his development so far pretty much has been in and around training with that squad, going away and playing a game with the under 80, the 21s, playing in their European competition. Come off the bench, getting started against Accrington. He came on against Chelsea, didn't he, in the League Cup final?
He was in that game.
And I think it's the 85th minute where he's Gakpo and McAllister going off and McConnell, and I think Dan's are coming on.
His numbers for that game are just ridiculous. He just doesn't give the ball away.
So he's had sporadic sort of appearances, but obviously constant growth and improvement in training. In the meantime, that we're seeing the sporadic. Oh, there's McConnell again. Oh yeah, isn't he improving very well? That's brilliant for us to see. And then he's going back in training 2-3 months. It must be imagine playing against the Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and McAllister midfield in training. Like, all right, we're doing shape work. I'm not going 100 mile an hour in flying into tackles, but. Insane, he must walk off that pitch sometimes thinking, that these are good, and I've got to be half as good as these three, or twice as good as these to even get half a chance as these are getting. And it seems like he's applying himself in that way, and the manager's saying that now, I want him in this squad now, going forward the rest of the season, isn't just to make the numbers up or to be good in training, it's to be called upon if and when needed, that you're at this level and I think you're good enough to be at. And, it's Enzo and Elliott next to him, and sometimes I think when we're playing Elliott in midfield, people may sort of say, you don't really want to play him with McAllister because it's maybe a little bit too small. You need two bigger lads around him. McConnell, you maybe just drop in and go, we've got Forest away, and we haven't. But imagine in a make-up scenario, we've got some team who you expect to beat, or even at home, this could be a bit of a tricky one, but we've got a Champions League game in the week after, where we've got like a narrow lead or a deficit to overturn. Can we throw him in? I think the manager will. It's mad how the developments are, and to use Morton and McConnell again, I think Morton's probably developed more than what McConnell would have done on loan, if that makes any sense. I think if it's sort of different strokes for different folks, and Trent's got his chance and never went on loan. Elliott goes on loan to Blackburn, and it develops him as a player and a man into coming into the man's game from the under 18s, and sometimes it's different for different players, and I don't see the McConnell ever goes on loan, if you get me. I think he'll just step up and take his chance like we always want these academy players to do, and if he gets enough of a chance, whether that's either through injury next pre-season or suspension in this season, I think he will take it.
Yeah, he looks ready to take it. He did an interview after the game as well, and talked about the manager's faith and wanted to sort of repay it. He looked like a man who's not necessarily had the assurances from the manager, but he looks like he's aware he's got the confidence of the manager, and he played like it as well. I agree with Mike in that there's potentially minutes coming up for him. He'll have his eye on that Plymouth game, for example, and going, well, you can start me on that, and I'll show you again what I can do, and then we'll have to see, how the season develops. But if we get through against Plymouth, which we're obviously all expecting and hoping we do, then there's a fifth round. Who knows who will get in that? If you get another Championship side, is he able to sort of start that one? And there's big games coming up. So whether that's, giving Ryan Gravenberch a rest in a certain game if you're doing well, or just, sort of looking at it, he is wanting to manage the minutes of these midfielders, and he's always been looking. You fancy the manager for someone to sort of step up and give him the chance to do that, and McConnell might be his guy.
Yeah, and that's, do you know what, when you were talking then, I was thinking, the problem is when I look at someone like James McConnell, I want him to get minutes in the Cup because I absolutely don't want him to get minutes in the Premier League because I want all the other players playing. Yeah. And I mean that as no disrespect to James McConnell, but I want our lads to stay fit for the rest of the season, which then invariably means he won't get any. So I really hope that, touch wood, those lads stay fit, but he gets an opportunity to impress in the Cup competitions again, because as you said, the manager has been sort of looking around the squad for how he can balance minutes, especially for Gravenberch and especially sort of McAllister's can be susceptible sometimes to fatigue. I think with McConnell, it is just about now but sort of taking patience from it, and he's done a good performance, and now he may not play until the Plymouth game. So it's a case of, right, bide your time, go again, go into the Plymouth game. And every time that he keeps putting in performances, take pride in that and know that opportunities will come. And it may not come for 6 weeks to 2 months, but you're doing enough for this club when you are playing that the manager said last night he's going to have a chat with Richard Hughes and say, yeah, probably not, lad. You're going to stay because we could do with someone like you as someone just a bit different.